Strikes continue in Lebanon as Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank arrests 30 Palestinians in Hebron, Jenin, Ramallah, and Bethlehem area. 27 more Palestinians have been killed across Gaza, including 13 in an attack on a residential building in Khan Yunis, as world leaders condemn the bombing of Al-Mawasi safe zone in the south. We have more in this report.
Israeli forces have killed 27 more Palestinians across Gaza, including 13 in an attack on a building in Khan Yunis, as world leaders condemn the bombing of Al-Mawasi safe zone in the south. The U.S. made 2,000-pound Mk-84 bombs in Al-Mawasi, killed at least 19 people and wounding 60 others. The overnight strikes were heavy and extensive. Huge explosions were heard across southern Lebanon, with at least 20 Israeli airstrikes in the span of just a few hours. The Israeli army is saying it hit about 30 rocket launchers as well as other military infrastructure belonging to Hezbollah in 4 different locations in southern Lebanon, adding that they pose a direct threat to Israeli civilians. Meanwhile, 1,400 lorries filled with emergency aid are currently waiting just outside of Gaza. Israel only lets around 50 lorries in every day, which is far from enough to properly support the civilians in Gaza. In Gaza, eyewitnesses and survivors of the airstrikes recounted painful stories of the first moment when they were buried underground due to the force of the airstrikes. After 11 months of hostilities, more than 600,000 young people in Gaza are being deprived of access to formal education for another year, a United Nations spokesperson said.
As you may have heard, would have marked the start of a new school year in Gaza. However, after 11 months of hostilities, more than 600,000 young people are being deprived of access to formal education for another year. The UN Relief and Works Agency says no official schooling is available in any of its 200 schools, with many of them being used as shelters for displaced Palestinians. The agency says its teams are still providing recreational activities and psychosocial support in some of its schools.
UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said that today would have marked the start of the new school year in Gaza. The spokesperson also reiterated that the UN and its partners are continuing efforts to protect children against the polio virus, with the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reporting that partners concluded the second phase of the vaccination campaign yesterday in southern Gaza. Also on vaccination, more than 256,000 children under 10 years in Khan Yunis and Rafah were reached over a period of 4 days during the second phase of the vaccination campaign. According to the United Nations, the initial round of the campaign is now almost 70% complete, with more than 446,000 children vaccinated out of 640,000 targeted during this first round. The second round of vaccination is expected to start in about 4 weeks this time.